now?
We're going. We've started, Josh. Josh Thomas. There's always a bit of a delay at the beginning, right before it's starting. Josh Thomas, how do you approach a third season of a show like Please Like Me?
I mean, you just do it. You just sort of, I mean, it's kind of like the first season of the show is so autobiographical. So it's like, we've gone on, I've had to like learn new skills, like how to invent a story that isn't true. Because usually, like the first season, we would just put in things that happened. I don't know. I mean, I guess the challenge with every new season is doing the thing that the audience likes, but not in a way that they've already seen. Which is that's the task. It's like the challenging thing. But otherwise, also, sort of we know what we're doing a little bit now. Like the first day we were on set for season 1, I'd never been on a drama set in my life. Like I didn't know that I was the boss for the whole first season. I didn't realize that it was my show until about a few weeks into series 2. And so now at least like we know what's going on. It's a lot easier.
What's it like halfway through a second season to realize you're running a show?
Some of the crew started calling me boss as like a joke. And then I sort of had this realization one day. I just didn't think, I just thought, I don't know who I thought was in charge. I guess I thought Todd, the producer, was in charge, which he is. Like, we're both, I guess, the boss. But I didn't really, I think someone got like, someone got fired. And they were like asking me, like, you know, to fire this person, is that okay? And I was like, what do you mean? I don't know. Sure.
Oh, right. Yeah. Do you have, Josh, like, was there, you say it's autobiographical largely in nature, the show, especially in the early days. Was there a thing from your life that you found hard to have to then relive or recreate or retell in the show?
I mean, yeah. On the second shooting, we shot this scene where the mum is in hospital and she vomits into a little bag and Josh is visiting her like just after she's attempted suicide. And it's the most true to life scene in the whole show. And my sister was visiting that day. And I just really hadn't thought through like how weird it would be, because they all like, that's their job, is to make it look as real as possible. And Deborah Lawrence, who plays mum, is like trying as hard to make it as real to life as possible. And I sort of hadn't thought through how incredibly creepy it was going to be to relive that experience in different shot sizes for a few hours.
Yeah.
And my sister was like a bit, but it was fine in the end. Also, you sort of like, after you do it 3 or 4 times, that's just what you're doing.
And I guess like Please Like Me is a show that like deals with very real, very serious, very heavy issues like suicide. Like in season 3, you have an abortion storyline and things like that. But it's also a very funny show. And how do you sort of approach those very serious episodes and bring sort of like light to those issues and stuff like that as well?
I mean, for me, I just like, I just never had a moment in my life that was like entirely sad or entirely funny. Like if someone falls over, that is funny, but also it's very sad. And like everything has that going on. So like an abortion is not funny, but the way people like deal with that, or people like trying to have fun with these difficult situations and trying to like kind of just keep their head above water, I find like kind of amusing. So for us, it's just about like what would honestly happen. And that's how we decide, you know, if a scene's gonna be sad or not. It's like, honestly, like, how do I think that day would play out? How would I react? I usually deal with sad things by making jokes. We just sort of try and be honest.
Yeah, it like seems like your character in the show, and maybe you in real life too, Josh, like finds it hard to be seen to be taking things seriously.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much like the tone of the show is very much just how I am. It's not very like we're not very creative.
Yeah, but like, do you think there's like a sort of like with the character you play on the show, a sort of like it's seen as like, you know, oh, I've got to, you know, like because these things are hard, because these things are heavy, because these things are very real. I need to bring light to them. I need to like not be seen to be consumed by those things around me.
Yeah, I feel like when things are sad, like, I don't know, everyone knows they're sad. You don't need to sit around saying like, well, this is sad. It sort of annoys him when people do. Sort of trying to keep it, and he doesn't always do it with humor. Like maybe he'll cook them something or just try and make it more pleasant is the goal. I think most people do that in reality. It's sort of a bit of a TV lie that like when something sad happens, everyone stands around making it worse by like talking through all the reasons why the day was bad. That's what they do in like soap operas. They're just always listing their complaints. I don't think most people do they?
I know a couple who like to.
Yeah, no one I'm friends with though. Yeah. There are people like that, but I don't come across them very much.
Yeah. And like, and that is true. And I think like that is the thing that can make life bearable, is being able to see the good that can either come from things, or the light in things, or trying to find the pleasant distractions from the, you know, difficult.
Let's just not be whingers all the time, you know?
Yeah. So, in the show, do you have a favorite moment from season 3?
I'm sure I do. Can't remember. Oh no. What happens in season 3?
Do you want me to chuck some things at you, Josh, and see what you like?
Definitely when everyone sings Adele. So at the end of Ep 5, we have to kill this chicken / this transgender chicken who is actually a rooster but thinks that it's a girl, called Adele, and then everyone starts singing Adele, and I just was really happy to get to use that song, and that's my favorite moment because it's so. I just don't feel like any other show is doing that and getting away with it, and I think we did.
Yeah, and
but fuck them.
What? Sorry?
I said some people might disagree, but fuck them. I was just joking around.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's good. That's the episode you guys have submitted for writing for the Emmys.
Is it? Okay, great. I like that episode. Good.
Yeah. They submitted your favorite. You were involved in that. You weren't the boss of that decision.
No, God, no. What they submit to awards? No, thank you. I don't want to be involved in that. That's mucky, don't you think?
Yeah. You're the boss, Josh. You get to make the calls.
But the good thing about being the boss is you don't have to do anything if you don't want to. You can just say like, no, this is that person's decision, and they'll do it.
Yeah, that is very fair. What about? I thought a really interesting episode from season 3 was I think the Christmas episode, where pretty much the whole episode is you all sitting around a table.
Yeah.
Like it's very much like a play. That episode.
It's like a play. We shot it in 2 days, which is pretty insane. And I don't know. I just felt like because the cast is so disparate. We don't get that many opportunities to sit them all down together. And Christmas is such a good way of doing that. And it's pretty. I find it quite stressful to watch because it really like reminds me of. My Christmases are quite lovely, to be honest, but you still just get this feeling of like. Just really takes you back. I don't know, how different does it look to your American Christmases?
Well, I'm in Australia, Josh, so I have the Australian Christmases as well.
You sound very Australian.
Do I? Really?
Mm.
So, it seemed quite similar to my Sydney Christmases, your Melbourne one.
Yeah, that's sort of pay pattern. Just all the decorations and stuff. It was one of those weird days where you walk in and the art department has just like made multiple Christmases. Like just by coincidence. So they just had all the same stuff that we had, and it's like sometimes that happens and it's like quite creepy.
Yeah, I think the calling card for me was the table you had, and like everyone had a different type of chair.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I think like that Christmas episode, like I also quite liked because in sitcoms you're used to, and in comedies you're like used to sort of this sort of banter and people making quips against each other and things like that. And there's definitely your group of friends and family love that on the show. But I think this show like sort of showed that like the sort of more realness, like the awkwardness that comes from those moments. To it's not just let's laugh at each other and move on to the next joke.
Yeah, people just getting fed up with each other. Everyone's just everyone's sort of at the end of their tether with each other. Because we did sort of get to the end of the season, and I was like, these people have been pretty obnoxious to each other, and they've been pretty obnoxious to Josh. And I thought it might be fun to see them all kind of get that, especially Josh, be like, no, that's actually too much. So yeah, I like that episode. Do you think we should have put that one in for writing?
You put that one in for Matt. Put that one in for directing.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So,
great.
Yeah. So I think I think that would maybe like be a good episode for you to put forward for acting though, because you got the big scene at the end.
Or I get really angry. And that is just, I was really angry because we had shot the scene in 2 days and we had to sit at that table for 2 days. So we kind of like were shooting the scene and then they would call cut and all the actors amongst themselves basically played out what just happened, you know, like, because you just get so claustrophobic with each other, sitting at this little thing for 2 days, eating ham, just so much ham and cherry tomatoes. And then I just really enjoyed telling them all that they're being annoying.
Yeah.
Just really, yeah. I really genuinely do love them all. But after that 2 days, I was just thrilled to get a chance to like look them in the eye and tell them that they're annoying.
Yeah, and like the best bit was at the end where you sort of go, I know I'm just as bad or annoying, so that's why I'm leaving now and I'm gonna keep talking.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, I'm sure they would have loved to sat me down and get some things off my chest.
Yeah. Like, so you got big moments like that in the show, but like sometimes what I appreciate more in shows like this are the little moments and the little lines that sort of crop up. Like, can you think of like one sort of little line or something that you had in season 3 that just was like a gem and maybe like, you know, could otherwise get overshadowed by the big sort of Christmas dinner scene or the not being able to kill the chicken scene and stuff?
I mean, there's like just the silliest scene where they're sitting around talking about X-Men, you know? And they're like, honestly, that's like what I want the show to be all the time. I want just friends like sitting around talking about nonsense the way you do in life. But you have to have like driving plot, otherwise it's very boring. So I like that we like got to keep that in. My favorite little things that make me laugh in season 3 are David Roberts, who does the dad. His acting all the way through just like makes me laugh. And I can never tell whether like other people, like sometimes I think when you know someone and then you see them acting a character, it's much funnier because you know that's not what they're like. But I think with that dad character, he just sort of you just sort of believe him as a person, and it's not like as funny to other people. But to me, it's like I just literally just sit there and laugh and laugh and laugh. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the other was for. It's quite a dramatic season.
I like stuff like when you're with like you were like it with Claire in an episode and you sort of turn to her and you sort of go, she said don't make fun of me or something. You're like, if I can't make fun of you, then what do you expect me to say? Like,
yeah, that's very much just my friendship group. Or like season 3, they just go out and take MDMA, and that's just seemed like a very real day to me, like just something that would happen with not too much drama. I mean, they ended up in hospital. You just have to, but not that much.
Yeah, and you directed that episode.
Yes, that's not why I brought it up though.
What's it like when you direct an episode? Like, how does that differ to like a regular like episode that you're in?
I mean, I have to rely on a lot of other people because I don't get to watch my performance back. And so I don't have Matt there, any feedback, and always worried about schedule. That's a new thing to worry about. But I worry about schedule anyway, even when I'm not directing. I mean, it is, we've got our crew and they've been working on the show for a long time and they all know what they're doing. What happens that week, honestly, was Matt had to go, and he's directed every other episode. He had to go away for a week and do some stuff on a feature film. So I was like basically substitute teaching, and everyone knows what they're doing. So I would like just say to the cameraman, Matt Temple, as different Matt, I'd just be like, I want like the camera to go like that, and I want it to be like this big, and or I'd say like I want it to feel sort of like this, and then he would like just show me some ways to do that, and then we'd work it out. And it was fun doing. And yeah, I mean, there's like a scene there where I look very tired, and I'm not meant to look that tired, but that's about it. I look really spent. Luckily, it's like in the middle of the night of the episode, and it's fine.
Yeah. Do you have were any of the actors trouble for you as a director?
No, but I'm not very like. I don't think I push them very hard. You know, just sort of. I get teased for I don't really give a lot of feedback. Like I only say like I don't get excited if it's good or anything. I've been teased for that a lot. I always say cut, just like that, cut, and and people found that a bit sort of like because they never really know what I thought. And so I don't know. Maybe I'll try and be, if I ever do it again, I'll try and be more positive. Hey, good job, guys. But whenever I do that, I always sound like I'm being sarcastic. The other thing that was hard and weird about directing was the episode I did, because there's an MDMA episode, I was kissing Keegan Joyce, who plays Arnold, like a lot. And I had to call cut on our kisses. So like, it's just a bit too much power, I think, you know, to get to decide. And like, if I never called cut, then he has to just keep acting forever. So I could have just kept him if I wanted, and just never. Just expensive though.
Now, like there's a show you do with the ABC here in Australia, but you've like also the Pivot Network got involved, I think, in season 2, always from season 2 onwards of the show. Yeah. What has that been like, sort of transitioning to sort of like working like as a purely Australian sort of production, having some American sort of input and influence?
Both networks are great, and they're pretty easy. They really like the show. I mean, Pivot came on season 2, so they like it from the get-go. They're pretty fine. I've had like maybe 3 fights. I don't think that's that many. You know? I mean, American.
Some of the best relationships in the world would be very pleased if they've only had 3 fights.
3 fights, barely anything, you know. And with both networks, there's just like sometimes there's weird cultural differences that I won't be able to articulate when you ask me to. And like the ABC, you'll have like often quite different notes to Pivot, but that's useful. I quite like getting notes. You can think about why people think that, or neither of them are very. I don't think any of them have ever like put their foot down and said you absolutely must change this if I pushed back enough.
That's good.
I mean, Pivot's a cool network. They're all about social responsibility. So it's like, and the ABC is government run, and they're just about making like Australian stories, and they're about making good quality content, you know. So they don't have any commercial mindset. And Pivot has a bit of a commercial mindset, but they also, this other big thing they have is about like social action and social responsibility. So they're both kind of quite similar, and they just want the show to be quality and for it to be like responsible, which is really very good quirks for networks to have.
Yeah, Pivot's like the Ben and Jerry's of TV networks.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
The socially conscious, social activist, like so with sort of now being on Pivot and stuff like that, has it changed your have you tried to be more sensible to America, have greater sensibilities for American audiences, or has the show just gone on more as usual?
Because it was, the Americans liked it before we started doing it season 2, so we didn't change much. Americans are more frigid. They're more worried about swear words and stuff. That's like the biggest difference. They love violence but don't like nipples. That's sort of sometimes frustrating for me because I just don't. I find it quite like, who cares? And the Americans are a bit more worried about jokes about God. The first season has like a lot of atheist content. There's not that much as it goes on, which is sort of because we did it. You don't want to do it again, but also they just never find it that funny because they're always a bit like, God, how could you? Whereas in Australia, we're not interested.
Yeah. Is there an interesting, like, don't you have a line in season 3 at some point, like, I just want to talk about atheism?
Yeah, I don't. I think maybe it is atheism. Yeah.
Or
alternative medicine.
Yeah, it's probably also why you killed a chicken in season 3, but you only spelled CUN in the grass.
Yeah, no, we're not allowed to use the C word in Australia as well. That's the only thing.
Yeah, that is true. So
into MA, so nobody wants that.
No, it changes the time you can air it and all sorts of stuff like that. Yeah. Do you think with the with sort of the direction of the show, I spoke, actually, I think about it now, like last week I think I was speaking to Aziz Ansari for Master of None, and he was sort of talking about with his show, like he's really wanting to tell a story that the Everyman is not a straight white guy like anymore. Like that's not what the Everyman is. And watching your show, I feel like it's hitting on those same sort of nerves of sort of changing who the Everyman is for a sitcom or a drama. Like, is that something you're aware of or conscious of in sort of wanting to change the way people think about the Everyman?
I mean, I am now after 3 years of interviews about it, but I was the guy. I mean, like Aziz Ansari says that, and obviously he's like believes it, but also, what choice does he have? Like, he's a white man, so if he wants to make a comedy show, he's gonna have to try and make the Everyman, not white. And for me, like, being gay was never, like, I am just gay. It's not that interesting. Like, I don't wake up next to my boyfriend every morning and go like, what? Like, I'm across it, and I know it. When we made the show, I never really considered it as being that weird, which is like naive. Like it, and then like I definitely thought making this show, the thing I'd be talking about for 3 years was the fact that the very first episode of the comedy series has a attempted suicide in it. I definitely thought that would be the conversation, and it has been lately. But at the beginning, it was just about the fact that I was gay and like, what am I trying to say about being gay? Although I talk about like the character portrayal, and I'm like, guys, it's just based on me, and I'm gay, and I didn't have a choice. Like, I just didn't. I can't. I mean, I would love to be straight, of course. Like, it's so much easier. I don't mean that at all, actually. I hate to be straight, but what a chore. But I just didn't have an option, and it was like, it's been interesting as well over because I think the first season was maybe 4 years ago, and it was when that first season, it was a much bigger deal. Even within the last 4 years, people have sort of lost interest in the character being gay. Is like the shift has been, and when it came out here, there was a lot of press about the character being gay and all this stuff going on. Like, it was a much bigger deal 4 years ago than it is now. Definitely, I'm not wondering about how it plays out as a social construct. I'm sure I could have stayed in the closet, but then if I stayed in the closet, then the people watching the show wouldn't know that I'm available for gay sex, and I really need people to know that I'm available for gay sex to be happy. So,
it probably is one of those things where the less conscious you are of it, the more helpful it is as well.
Yeah, and I mean, because people were like, "Oh, it's good, like, to have this coming out story." Then the coming out wasn't a big deal, and I was like, "Oh, I guess so," but that's just how it was for me. Like in real life, my brother told my mum called me. I was on the train. I said, "Mum, I can't talk right now. I'm on the train." And she said, "What does he say about you having a boyfriend?" I said, "I can't talk. I'm on the train." And she said, "Okay." And we never really spoke about it again. Like that's just. I told my dad, and he just gave me all these made up facts about the risk of contracting HIV. Like it just wasn't a big deal, and I hadn't really considered that. And then I also get a bit, I get a bit weird about people saying that it's good to show that it's not always a big deal, because those stories where it is a big deal are also valid. So we did one of those in the last season.
Yeah. Hey, tell the story you want to tell. Like,
I mean, it's not even the story I wanted to tell. It's just the only story I knew. It's the only one I knew to tell. It would be a very weird show if I was touching vaginas. It would be uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah. And what would you want people to take away from Please Like Me? You like sum up anything, like what would you want actually people to take away? What are you trying to say with this show?
I just want people to like watching it and then want to watch the next episode.
It's good.
That's all, And then, I mean, the nice thing for any show about telling personal stories is that you get to experience other people's lives, and then that sort of creates empathy within the world. Like you sort of can see other people's struggles and how they deal with things, and it's really fascinating and interesting. And I think the fact that this show has so much sort of truth in it, that's sort of heightened. That's just what you want anyone to take out of any show. There's no I'm not hoping people are going to watch it and all of a sudden decide that gay marriage is great. That's not the intention. I mean, that's obviously what I want, but that's not the intention. And I'm not hoping to get more mental health funding. Like that would be good, but that's not the aim of the show. The show is just to tell personal stories, and hopefully people are entertained by it. I just want people to get to the end and not feel like they wasted 25 minutes of their life, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. That sounds like a good aim for anyone making a TV show. Anyone who's the boss of a TV show. That's probably what they should want.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, Josh, thanks for chatting with us. All the best for the Emmys. All the best for everything. A happy birthday for last week.
Thank you. This is because it was my birthday. That's not just. I don't want people to think I set this up for the interview. I just had it was already up, and I thought, why not use it?
All morning, Josh has been up setting up all the streamers and the stuff for the interview. He's
very big deal for me. This
big opportunity. Yeah, it's a big. The Gold Derby Emmy chats are where it's at. Yeah. So,
all right, thanks.
Yeah. No, thanks so much, Josh.
Thanks, babe. I don't know how to hang up.
Okay, well.